guys? It's Callie, your online editor for FitnessRx, and we are back for another episode of Mix It Up with CrossFit. And we are joined again by Jay. How you doing, Jay?
Good, very good. Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, you're welcome. So today, Jay is going to take us through some movements for lower bodies. So if you're training lower body that day, these are going to be exercises that you can work in after your workout to mix it up.
Yeah, for sure. So the first workout that I'm going to go through, again, we're going to talk about it from a low technicality standpoint. And it's going to be two movements focusing on the quads and then the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay, so we're going to go with what's called a wall ball, and then we're going to go into a kettlebell swing. And then after we kind of go through the wall ball and the kettlebell swing, I'll talk about different ways that you can kind of scale up, make it a little bit more challenging, add in some more technicality, some more technical movements if you wanted to, and kind of go from there. And the awesome thing about what we do with fitness is that I'm going to give an example of like rep ranges and ways you can go about it today, but there's a million ways you can do it, and you can be creative with it to get a different effect depending on what your focus is for that day's training session.
Lots of options.
Lots of options.
I like options. You know what? I also like fun. Or wall ball. Is it wall ball?
Wall ball, yes.
Wall ball. Is that as fun as it sounds?
Well, you know, I think it depends on who you're asking. You know, taller people might have a little bit more fun with it.
Okay.
Yeah, than shorter people, but yeah, it's always fun.
Awesome. Well, let's check it out.
Let's do it. All right, so the two movements that we're going to do, like I said before, one is the wall ball and the other one is the kettlebell swing. I want to first go through a few movement standards of the wall ball and kind of show you exactly what it is. So simply with the wall ball is I'm going to hold the ball up on my chest, I'm going to do a full squat, and as I come up from the squat, I'm going to throw the ball at the wall. Realistically, we want the ball hitting about 10 feet. Why? I don't know. That's just kind of like a typical standard that we utilize inside CrossFit. You can always make that higher if you want a little bit more challenge on the arms and even more of an aggressive hip extension, where if you want to go 11 or 12 feet. Or you can go lower if you're just a smaller person and you can't quite make it 10 feet. All right, so you can use really anything for a wall ball. This is what we're going to use today. This is a 14-pound ball. I'm going to hand the ball to Callie, and I'm going to have her demonstrate a few wall balls. As she goes through about 3 wall balls, I'm going to talk about some of the movement standards that we would be looking for inside this movement.
So keep in mind, I've never done this before.
So first thing, I'm actually going to have her pause in a few positions, and one is a squat. So squat on down, Cal. So first thing I would look for in the squat is you can see she has good weight distribution in her feet. So her weight's kind of centered towards the rear of her foot, okay? We don't want her completely on her heels where her toes are up, and then we obviously don't want her on her toes with the heels off the ground. We want her weight nice and centered. From here, you can see the crease of the hip is going to get below the knee, so I'm going to have her squat just a little bit lower right there, so full squat depth. And you can't really see from that camera angle, but the knees are tracking the toes. So you can stand up for a second, Cal. And I'm going to have you just drop the ball and turn around and face the camera. So in this squat position, go ahead and squat down. We're looking for a good alignment between the knee and the toe. So what we're kind of looking to avoid is anything that's going to have the knees kind of track in, or even if the knees are excessively pushed out, which you're not going to really see on a lot of people, but if you have super good hip external rotation, then you might see that. So good, stand on up. Awesome. All right, now, as Callie drives up from the bottom position of the squat, she's going to simply aggressively throw the ball at the wall, looking to get the ball to the black line. So we're going to have Callie do about 5 reps.
Keyword aggressively.
Good. And you can see towards the last rep, the height got a little bit lower and lower. Great exercise. Again, it's really going to get the heart pumping, so it's going to be a good metabolic effect. It's going to be great. You can utilize as a burner for the legs to get a bunch of reps in after a leg workout, and work on some more kind of loading of the quadricep muscles, whether it's that eccentric or concentric phase of the action. Cool?
Awesome.
The next movement is going to be the kettlebell swing. So Callie's going to demonstrate a few kettlebell swings. As she's going through the kettlebell swing, I'm just going to kind of talk about what we're looking for. So go ahead, Cal. Can you face that way? Thanks. Go ahead. So what we look for in the kettlebell swing, there's 2 versions of the kettlebell swing. One is they're going to call it the American swing, where the kettlebell is going to come all the way up over the head. And that's fine if you want to do that. The other one's really generalized as a Russian kettlebell swing, where it's just going to be snapped to about shoulder height right there, when that's more of an aggressive hip drive. Which one do I want you guys to do? That's completely up to you and what you're trying to get out of the workout. If you go over your head, it's going to incorporate more shoulders, a longer range of motion. Couple that with the wall ball, where you're utilizing your shoulders and triceps, so you can get a little bit more feel there. If you want to stay away from the shoulders, make it a little bit quicker, a little bit more of an aggressive hip drive, then you might just at that point stay with just kind of like that shoulder height movement. both of which are fine. It's kind of like tomatoes, tomatoes. Whatever one's going to make your workout better and is what you're looking for, then go ahead and do that. With both movements, there are some standards you want to look for. Okay, one, if we're going to talk about the back. So I'm going to have Callie just do the normal shoulder height kettlebell swing. Go ahead, Callie, let's do a few reps. And what I'm looking for from this back position is I don't want it to be overly extended too much. Good, and relax. So as she's swinging that kettlebell and that kettlebell comes up, you can just drop it. Yeah. As that kettlebell comes up to kind of this shoulder height position, I want to see your stomach squeeze in nice and tight, and I want to try to see the hips in a good neutral position, okay? What we're trying to not see is if she had this big kind of like arch through her low back there. So you can kind of see that motion there. That can put, good, thanks. So that can put a lot of stress on the lower back that we're going to try to avoid. So when that kettlebell is swinging up, let the weight and the height that you raise the kettlebell be dictated by your ability to maintain good posture and position through the movement, okay? So if you raise that kettlebell up high and you see the second that those arms come up high, you just kind of start breaking and arching, then bring it down to a height that you can maintain better alignment in throughout that spine, okay? And that's for your safety. Now, on the downward motion of that kettlebell, if we try to keep it simple, so just bring those hands between your legs, Cal. We're looking to, again, maintain a good back position. Callie's going to have her shoulders pulled back and down. She's really activating her scaps. Her traps are staying nice and relaxed. She's not going to be too trap dominant. She has a good neutral spine position, and she's loading through the posterior chain. The shoulder's going to be slightly in front of that kettlebell. So you see she has a good body positioning. Good. So as that kettlebell comes down, that's what you're looking to maintain, okay? From your feet, you're looking to keep that weight kind of distributed towards that mid to rear foot. Again, not being too far driven on the heels and not too far driven on your toes. Eyes, going to keep your eyes straight ahead. Just keep a good focus straight ahead. Just keep that, again, a neutral spine positioning. So right now, we're going to have Callie do a few reps with that kettlebell. Let's go shoulder height. Good. Awesome. And one thing that Callie's really good at is we're going to kind of keep swinging Callie. We're going to change up the motion where she might go a little bit more quad dominant on the swing, where she's going to get into more of a squat. And then she might kind of switch to more of kind of that hip movement where she pushes the hips back. There, awesome, good, and relax. In my opinion, which one's better than the other depends on what you're trying to get out of the workout, okay? Is it completely wrong to go into more of a squat? No, it's not. Is it completely wrong to be just here? Absolutely not. If you want to get more of a kind of a quad burn, yeah, then you might go into more of a squat position with the kettlebell. If you want to have a good supplementation between the quads and the wall ball and then getting more kind of hips and hamstrings and glutes working, then you might be more bent over that motion, okay? Again, depends on what you're trying to get out of the workout. So what we're going to have Callie do right now, we'll go 2 rounds, okay? We're going to go 10 wall balls, okay, 10 kettlebell swings. Now, the beautiful thing about Fitness Cal is that, like you said, there's tons of options. Right. What are some other options? Last week, we talked about more of a time priority workout where it's 15 minutes to complete a task. Today, we're going to do task priority. So it'll be, you need 2 rounds of 10 and 10. This can vary. You can do 10 rounds of 5 and 5, 10 rounds of 10 and 10 to get in 100 reps. I mean, it's really like ending as far as what you can put together for the workout. So right now, we'll just do 2 rounds and see how that goes. Yeah, 10, there you go.
I think he was laughing at me.
No. I think, so what I was looking for was make sure she had good depth, but on top of the depth, make sure you have good body positioning through the movement, right? Again, no matter what you're doing, you never want to sacrifice form for the sake of the workout or for the sake of reps, right? So if you start going, you feel your form breaking down, 2 options, stop and rest, or go a little bit lighter.
Right.
So let's do a few more reps. Good, so she has a great snap of the hips. She has a good spine position as that kettlebell comes up. Eyes are forward, good distribution of her weight within inside her feet. So as she raises that kettlebell up, her weight still staying rooted throughout that midfoot. Oh, back to that wall ball.
Again?
So, good job. So that was just a quick example of a workout that we have.
Okay.
Kind of like a little burn on the legs. You can make that into a time priority workout. We go 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Like I said, you can keep it as far as a certain amount of reps that you want to accomplish between the 2 movements. How would you scale that up? Something that Callie and I talked about earlier. You can change the wall ball into what's called a thruster. So similar motion, but now you have a barbell in your hands, and you raise a barbell overhead. You can change the kettlebell to a deadlift, or a power clean, or a hang power clean, any sort of kind of pull motion, kind of like that push-pull effect, right? Right. You can even add a run in there, or a bike, or a row, kind of like you can do anything you want from that arena, really, right? But I think this is a great way to have low stress, so it's not heavy. It's not kind of like the crazy heavy pounding on your knees and hips. You are kind of hinging and breaking parallel on the two, so you wouldn't want to mix it if you're going to do a super high volume squat day or pull day. Then you might want to watch the amount of volume that you do here, just so you're not kind of going through motion under extreme fatigue and causing injury. But if you want like a quick burn after kind of a moderate volume kind of weight training day, this might be great for you.
Yeah, definitely. If you're wondering where I feel it the most is in my glutes and hamstrings, and definitely cardio as well. So for people that don't want to hit their quads a lot, it definitely does a good job of that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jay, well, thank you for that workout. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you did great with it. You move really well, and your fitness is awesome. So you did good with that. Great job.
All right. Well, it didn't feel like it. I was definitely huffing and puffing a little, so let me know what you guys think of it. But next week we are going to be doing a variation of HIIT cardio, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do some just good old-fashioned this kind of conditioning work. We're going to have two pieces of equipment, the assault bike and the rower. So you can do lots of damage or good damage on those two.
Good damage. I like that. And you can never have enough conditioning, right? So make sure you guys check it out.